Hey guys, so I think I may have actually figured out the solution to the problem before. I didn't actually watch anything very useful or find a piece of fabric and then look at it. Um, no, I just randomly thought of it on just like, oh, when I was looking at this. Basically, I just thought to this and I was like, well, why is there like, why am I doing that? This can slip upwards. It can literally just slip upwards to this point. And then that works. So this could have a fold in it or whatever. And this can have a fold in it or whatever. And then this part just turns into an oval. So yeah. And even looking at that, it suddenly says something, which is that say you get this oval, right? A oval is actually going to be a curve from a diaperfold or whatever, because like this bending in, and then this having like an up portion, and this coming down and then coming over, and then you get like a diaperfold or whatever. It'll get to a point at which it has a circle, and then past the point of a circle, I suppose. This is my assumption, is that past the point of a circle, that's where you start getting parabolas that start to peak in, because essentially now you've got a raised peak. That raised peak is then beating the surface tension, and then you start to get parabolas, which then do their thing. So you'll get this, and then parabola, and so on and so forth. So fabric, yes, it's going to do an oval, but then it's going to get to a circle, but then it's going to get to a parabola. And so this point can be pinched or whatever, and then this point can be a perfect circle, just fine, like a section of a circle. Doesn't matter. This part could bend, and then you can get that. And then like coming down here, you just create your little pipe fold. Bop, bop, bop. You got your pipe folds, boom, whoop, boom, 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 and you have like that, whatever that is, boom, boom. You have your pipe folds, and then you have your parabolas. And your parabolas are going to stop at the point at which it's no longer a parabola on the sheet, because a parabola really only has one shape, right? There's one shape. And so if you have a sheet, like a square, the maximum fold is going to be this parabola. The other one, the minimum fold is going to be the semicircle. And then before that, the tension point, this is going to be an oval. So you're going to have an oval, and then you're going to have like an overlap or something like this that's then going to curve over. Bop, bop, bop. And then there's going to be this or whatever that's going to get to this point, and then you're going to have these parabolas. Like you're going to have the parabola of the first peak, and then you're going to have a parabola of like a second and maybe a third. That's going to create the thing, and then you're going to get your pipe folds, which is just basically a section of it that's going to be pulled tight, that's going to create that curtain fold. Up, bop, bop, bop. So a section of it's going to come in, around, back, out, down, boom, boom, boom. And so your diaper fold is then essentially going to have something like this, at least on the outside, which is actually going to exist on a skirt. It's also going to exist on the top of a shirt, because a shirt, you have like this, I don't know, a circle, right, around which the shirt is hemming, and then potentially you could have like a poncho, where a poncho is connecting like that or whatever. But essentially, if it's stretching over something, then it may get an oval shape like this. And if it gets that, then it's going to pass the point of the circle, then get like other, like the edge of a parabola or something. It might be a smaller parabola. It could be the wider base of a parabola. Yeah, whatever. So, and then you could have like these sort of folds on a shirt where it's basically binding, and then it's like connecting around and doing this thing. So you could have that kind of thing happening on a shirt or a poncho or whatever, like here, like here, because of this curve right here, this narrowing section. Or at least that kind of solves it for me. It doesn't fully solve it, but it gets me much closer to the solution. So the question was that if you have a circle, and you push up on it, right? You know, this obviously doesn't become like a hemisphere. Like, oh, now we have a hemisphere. Woo. No, it doesn't work like that, because this isn't elastic. And we're not perfectly deforming it in that way. Because if it was elastic and you pushed it, what you would actually get is a cone. If it was elastic, right? You'd get a cone if you pushed up. You wouldn't get hemisphere. And if it's completely inelastic when you push up, you're definitely not getting a cone. So if you're doing elastic material, you can just ignore it, just make a cone. It's done. So water definitely would, like if you pushed up on it, it'd probably do the opposite, where it would become like a funnel, right? So that would be more like liquid, right? So if, for example, you've got water on a roof, it's gonna do this funnel thing, right? Before it then globs and snaps off, and maybe you get like a whatever, and this as it falls faster, and then you have like, you'll have like ripples like to the sphere or whatever, and then it globs out back to the funnel, and then it'll curve around where you get like your oval, and then this will roll up, but then roll down and then roll down and get out into these outer rings, like big one, middle one, little one, little one, little one, and then be like whatever, connected to that sort of thing or whatever. And there's water. It's gonna act like this if you push up through a circle. Funnel. Elastic, it's going to create a cone. If you push up on a stiff thing, a stiff circle, well, then what does it do? I think what it does is it probably pinches in one side in probably a parabola or something like this, and then the other side will probably remain a circle, a half circle or whatever. And then where you've got this extra fabric that's sort of made itself into this parabola, you're then going to get oval? Oh God. What would it do? I mean, I intuitively understand it. It's like, let's view it from the side. We've got this, and we've got this, and then this is coming like this. And we've got this, which is the parabola. And we've got this, which is doing this sort of thing. I just want to see this. So there's this thing going on, this thing going on, this thing going on, this thing going on, whatever. And it forms in this circle here. And then we're seeing this other side of it. We see the underside as it rolls in here, right? And then there's going to be this inner parabola thing here. It can even be like an outer parabola, whatever. That's, I don't know, whatever. And then what happens with this is it's doing this. Oh God, what's happening with it? Is it like a rosette? Like a rose ship? God, what's going on? Oh God, no. Okay, I'm gonna think of it like flour dough. Like if I put flour dough, and then like I lift up a side, it's gonna go blip, and then it's going to get a little bit steeper or something. So maybe that's what happens. Like it gets a slight parabola. Maybe that's all that happens. Maybe you get slight undulations. Like say if you've got a sphere and then you put like a thing around it, like that was a circle, there's going to be parts that are part oval like this, and then there's going to be parts that are part like the very slightest part of like or whatever, and there's going to be a certain ratio of those, right? Like they're just going to be the very faintest breaks of surface tension, right? I think that's the best way to do it, is just to say like there's going to be a few breaks of surface tension, not too many, and there may be enough surface tension break to create like an actual sharp fold on like one of them, like where one might be compensating more than the others. And so then you get like that weird bell-shaped curvy thing happening, say with like a twist. And so you might get a thing like this that does its thing. And if that's probably happening, it's probably happening at the same time that a portion of this circle is then turning somewhat into an oval. Like this part over here is lifting up, and then turning into like an oval like thing, and then it turns into this weird bell-shaped curve, and then maybe we have this natural part which then can do this and whatever, and it remains sort of on track. Okay, and then if we extend that and we say, okay, we have our circle, but the fabric now of this circle is much bigger, then essentially there's just going to be stretched parabolas where I don't know what's going on here. Oh God, what's happening? We get these stretch parabolas. Why do you get stretch parabolas? I think the thing with the stretch parabolas is it's like an inside out version. Okay, say if you have like surface tension of water and you have like a cylinder that sits in the water, and then there's like a section that cuts off here or whatever. That section is going to be a parabola. But I think what happens is you get these stretchy pipe foldy things. Because like if you have fabric here, I don't know, you have fabric here, and then you get like a portion of it coming up, it's essentially going to create like a parabola. But I think if it's the opposite way, where there's more surface tension than this break in surface tension, like say there's a surface break in surface tension one way, then there's like another break in surface tension that's causing like an opposite force or something like that, like it's creating a balancing force. I think these narrow because of like these balancing forces. So they're not like a true parabola, like this would be, or this is, but they become these narrower parabolas because of the forces of the other whatever. So bump, bump. So I think that is what's going on, and what's going to impact how much comes off, whatever, is going to, and how, like it won't be able to get these narrow parabolas unless it's a thin material, and generally that's going to happen below the midpoint, or at least just a little above the midpoint of the thing. So like if there's a sphere, the midpoint, like that first top hemisphere is not going to have as many deformations, but some will travel up beyond that, right? I mean, they're going to, like theoretically. I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case because I think a circle minimum is like half or less than half. Less than half something, I don't know. So what I mean by that is, say if you've got a cone like this, right? It takes two cones. Like say you've got like a sphere, it takes like a cone twice the size, like this, and same perimeter, to actually fill the volume of this hemisphere. It takes that. So if you have a cone twice this big or whatever, then this has the same volume as this. I mean, the surface area is probably greater in this one than this one, but what I'm saying is you probably got about half the potential in like a circular form to cover like a hemisphere. Like it's not going to be able to bend this much and not lose some of its whatever. So I would say maybe halfway down, it's probably going to start like folding or bending or crumpling, even though it's conforming over the curve. I mean, I would assume that's the case. I don't know. It's just an assumption I have that then I'll test later. It's just part of like drawing from imagination. You want to kind of like think of these things. Yeah, so I would say like the top third probably not going to bend. Just to make it like just a random thing. And depending on the thickness of the material and the elasticity, if it's more elastic, then maybe it's gonna go lower before like you start to see these little curve things, these stretch parabolas or whatever. But if it's really stiff and it's really thin, you're going to see that like creeping all the way up. If it's really stiff, really thin, it'll go all the way up to the top, like paper or something like that. But then it will slowly creep down until it's at halfway point where it behaves like everything else, right? And so those are some rules of how fabric's going to move then. So now we've studied circles, how that does things, which was a complicated journey and a half. Whoa. Like that's really complicated and annoying. All right, whatever. I'm ready to move past. I'm ready to move past that now. And now let's go to seams. Two connected shapes. So what if I just start with a simple seam like this? Where it's like a triangle, but we're just gonna say only this part is connected because the seam is where the complicated part's gonna be. And if I suddenly add a seam to this, I don't know, maybe that just turns it into a square or something and it reacts like a square, but it doesn't seem like that because wherever there's a seam, there's more tension. And so it is different. Anyways, so let's put this strip. Strip's going to behave mostly the same as it did before. It's probably going to come out and then under, right? And then one's going to come over and then probably come out and then under, whatever. If the seam is up top, it's probably not going to do much, which is good. Easy. But say you put a pin in it and then it's here and it's here. I don't know, make it a bit more connected or whatever. Okay, then you've got this. And then if that happens, I think this and this side are the only part clinging on. And so these parts come off. And then you get that under thing going on like this. Right? So, and then you get a parabola. Yes. So you're going to get a parabola type curve when you twist. Okay. You're gonna get a parabola. That's interesting. Like you lift one side of a ribbon and it's lifted or whatever. This is going to create a parabola. That's just what it's going to do. So that is like a cool little rule. Like, hey, you know, if you do lift one side, it's probably going to create a parabola. That's really cool. And so say something that has a seam, it's probably going to imply that this is going to split apart or whatever, like because the forces are going to be coming down on each side and there's going to be ones that conform to the form and then ones that don't. And the ones that don't are probably going to pull out and then that's going to create a tension. But this is going to create parabola at these exit points, like these points of tension on the outside, and then I don't know, maybe there's like an oval like between them, like just theoretically there's some kind of energy that's doing that, and there might be like something in here as well. That I'm just thinking like ahead here. Like what's going on there? It's just interesting because there's like designs of like lines and curves and stuff like in here that you can just look at. Like, look at this. This is kind of like cool, like for a doorway. You could create like an A-frame and then like, oh no, because of the way that fabric works, we've decided to go here and have like a parabola there. And then, you know, now we're curving back, but then we've got this thing where we're bending like this. Like, how cool is that? It's like really cool as like a doorway design where you might have that parabola, boom, woof, down and boom. Like, that's just cool. You can have like a little bit of exaggeration of that curve and a little bit of exaggeration of that. Bump. And you can create like, oh, cool stuff. Now it looks like three-dimensional, like it's got forces going through it, and like, what's going on with this? And really, it's based off fabric. But then, also, what about just like a chess piece? You have like a whatever, crystal or something. And someone has, you know, whatever, and they've got like this decorative shape or whatever. And maybe that's in a hat, or maybe it's, you know, specifically for like a chess piece or whatever, and like that's just an interesting design because of these curves and lines and how they work, and you're just like, oh, that's interesting. So now fabric to me is way more interesting because it suddenly gives you design shapes and like bell curves, these weird sort of like this and this sort of shape. Like this is a whole shape in my mind now. Like that shape is such an interesting design because it's like part of a torsion curve, which is like this. Like which everything in nature does. Like this is the bigger torsion part, and then you've got this part which is just that bell part. And that's just fascinating that that exists in fabric, that curve. Like I've never seen that curve before for other things. It's just kind of like in fabric. And then we see a similar thing here where we get this belling and then we get this larger sort of spiraling off. But it's got different logic behind it where we've got a parabola in here, which we can add extra detail to perfectly. And like even here, like is this side higher than that one? Then you can just add like a little parabola in there. Like that's just so cool and so handy, so quick. Boom. So that's just really cool as like design language goes. So I love this. Love that. That's cool. And that's just from investigating the seam, because then that fixes these sides, these specific sides here that are fixed. And then it's like, okay, they're fixed, then that needs to happen. That's really cool. Okay, let's conjoin in a little more. So instead of two strips, let's just cut out a section here at the bottom to give it a little give. And it's like that. So we put this on. And this time it's going to hold together nice and strong. It's not going to billow out too much. Except here. Because there it is going to do that bendy thing. And I don't know, this is going to do whatever it's going to do. I think it's going to come out that way before then it comes back this way. It comes out. I don't know, I totally got this wrong. This one is going to come out though, so it's going to be like these. Oh God, how do I do this? So it's going to, the point at which it comes off is going to bow. Then you're going to have these little parabola things, right? But this is then going to conform around the sphere. That's so weird. Okay. Does it do that? Maybe. It's so weird that I'm starting to think in terms of like these ideas now. Like maybe that's even going to lift off. Like, oh yeah, there's going to be like an oval thing here, but then there's going to be an extended thing here. And then, oh, there's actually going to be like a true parabola along this thing, but then there's going to be a like a semicircle along this thing. Like, okay, ovals, semicircles, actual parabolas, this balancing thing, this narrow parabola thing as well. That's just interesting to me. Like, there's all these shapes and shape ideas that you normally wouldn't deal with, but they're right there in maybe that's what's happening in any seam. Say you have a seam. As it goes past the main area, maybe it bounces out, right? The seam's quite tough, so it's going to behave like thicker fabric. And then that's just going to create like a parabola. And you could do that like with just like a stiff thing, like you could just turn it into like a triangle, because you're just like, you know what, I'm going to make it seem stiff because this is an elastic piece of fabric. And then, so then I'm going to buckle this out again or whatever. And have this come over like this, and then maybe like this again. Interesting. I think if I studied from reference, I'm not going to do that. A shirt thing, it would be interesting just to observe, just as coloring those things in, these, like the way that it buckles at the seams would be interesting, really interesting to me. But I want to allow my mind to think of it, because otherwise my mind wouldn't have thought of these things, you know? And they're super valuable. And now I understand that the seam is thick fabric. Wherever there is a seam, Think thick fabric, slower lines, bulkier things. If it does fold, it's got to be sharp and angular for that specific part. Like, seam is generally not going to buckle unless it's forced. And if it is forced, that means it's way past the surface tension, that you're removing all the surface tension, and there's probably going to be the presentation of shapes like that in there. So maybe this is going to come up like this or something, but there's going to be like this thing going on, as like there's like another fold going along here, like a smaller fold, and then there's going to be like this little divot or whatever that's going to do its thing because of the change in the surface tension of the fabric. All right. And then this is going to create like a parabola effect, but that doesn't mean it's not going to then reduce off, like just subtly, just in a soft way. But if it collides with this one, then this is going to amplify it, and then this is going to get deeper as this then rolls off. And you're going to get more ambient occlusion in that little section, right? Which is interesting because it's almost like curves in fabric are just another extension of form. Like, they help you understand form more, and maybe even shadows better, and ambient occlusion. So maybe studying fabric helps you understand ambient occlusion, helps you understand shadows, helps you understand line design, like more complex line design. Because like this line, like why would you change the rhythm from like something like this? Ooh, like, okay, whatever. This is liquid. This is stiff. Where you've gone like here, but then you've gone like, oh, but now it's over here, and then there's this thing over here, and then it's come back up and down, and oh, now there's like this thing going up around this way. Like, you're like, well, why would you do these things? But it's because it's stiff and because it's getting deformed. While this is beyond fluid. This is like elastic fluid, like super fluid type stuff. Like, oh, super fluid, woo, it does whatever it wants. Real fluid won't do that, because real fluid it'll be more elastic than elastic, where it's going to like turn into funnels and stuff. Whereas, you know, elastic might turn into like, I don't know, like, oh, it might turn into a funnel, but it's mostly going to be a cone when you push it. But something even past that is like just pure like, oh, there's no rules, whatever. We just do whatever we want. And so there's like interesting rules of form and stroke existing just in understanding fabric. That makes it extremely fascinating to me. I did not think I would find something this interesting when I decided to short study fabric. I was thinking, yeah, I'm going to create a sphere. I'm going to get like a handkerchief. I'm going to put a handkerchief over it, and then the handkerchief is going to do like stuff like this. Well, and it's going to like do this sort of thing, and I'm going to be like, wow, the handkerchief did its thing for sure. Wow. But look, even after studying this just a little bit, it's just suddenly just way more apparent. And see, I wouldn't even stop there. I'd say like, well, what about a slight parabola being here? Because maybe you have this going on, and like this and this and this and this, and maybe this curves off, and maybe it does this thing. So maybe it's not like just So now I have even like a design sense for like some of these fabrics. Not good. Like this is horrible. Look at that. That's terrible. But in that, I found some interesting ideas. So that's cool. Like these are horrible. That's horrible. That's horrible. But I understood some things from it. So it's great. So I don't know if I want to like just keep looking at seams and stuff. Like how do they normally seam? I mean, it's either going to be two triangles connected together or something. Right? And then it's going to deform at a specific angle, and that's what it's going to be designed to do, is like deform a certain degree back and forth. Oh my god, like fashion's so weird because fashion's cool because it's using these designs of the fabric and how the fabric moves. So then I'm thinking like, how can you design like clothes without knowing how fabric moves? You have to know how the fabric moves. And you have to know like the stroke language of fabric. Like, oh yeah, and it's going to do this, and then it's going to do this, and then it's like there, and then wait, this is going to whip back here and like this, and then do this. Well, this is going to come down, be like a looped hood thing, which is going to do this, and then this one's going to whip up here, and then this is under here, and then got this coming over here, and then this, I don't know, whatever, this is much larger, which comes in and does this, and I don't know, and then you've got like a lady staring at you. Oh no. In the sea of fabric. I really like the fact that there's things that are stiff, elastic, and fluid. And then super fluid. That's going to help me understand how to do line designs. Because say if you're doing something and you're like, whoop, 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 or whatever, and that's a curve for a thing, you can then say, what is this? Is it stiff? Or is it elastic? Or is it fluid? And wouldn't skin be both elastic and fluid? Well, bone would be stiff, right? Like, so bone, you might get something like this happen. But if it's a fluid, it might just be, I don't know, like rounded off or something. Or maybe it's even going to do like a stretchy thing at some point. I don't know. An elastic, maybe elastic, it's coming out a bit more. Like maybe that describes it's more elastic. That's more fluid, that's more stiff. And super fluid might be like, whoa, whoa, or something. And then that's going to create this ethereal feeling. And so maybe like when you're doing magic, you want to like have that be super fluid. Like not just elastic, but like super fluid. But then there might be parts of it where you want to be elastic just to tie it down. And then other parts, maybe where it's even stiff. I don't know. So there's interesting concepts there of like how much weight you put in things and communicate even in a line. I really wasn't expecting stuff like that. That's kind of crazy. Because there are these rules, and they're not that difficult to find. I mean, they're difficult to find. So you create parabolas, and then you create like oppositional things. Ways folds work, the way things go over forms, then the ways that they bunch. I need to understand how things bunch more, because I've done bunching in like twisting, done like this natural falling motion, but I haven't done like scrunching, bunching. And I haven't fully done the meeting of like a thick fabric and a thin fabric. Like you have a thin fabric and then you have a thick fabric, and then this one is bending like this, and then this one has to like bend way more to like compensate. Like I'm not sure how that works. It's going to be complex, but at least I have these questions in mind so that when I'm observing in the future, like what I'm doing, I'll just be like, oh yeah, that's this and that's that. Okay, cool. So I've learned quite a bit there, which is awesome. But then I also wanted to short study dynamics, and I had this understanding of dynamics, that dynamics was like turbulence. So when I draw turbulence, I don't know how I draw it or what the rules are, but I know like there's like a certain way that I draw things that are turbulent. Like there's just a specific way that I do it. I know other people have other ways, like very specific sort of design methods and stuff. I don't have that yet. I just have like the kind of like whatever, the base of like how you would generally create turbulent motion. And my thought on design language or whatever, like more dynamic, is instead of like saying, oh, the composition is this, followed by like this curve, and then like this curve, and maybe like something whips off here, and here like this, and then we've got this, and then this one, and then this one doing this, and you're like, oh, I kind of like this design composition or something. Instead, you add a bit of turbulence to it. So there may be a rhythm, and the rhythm may be doubling over here, and then a third aspect over here, which then bends back here and whatever. Well, say you've got that, add some turbulence, but loose turbulence. So instead of it all being like tight, like all in one spot, distant turbulence. And so this one, this curve, like that, and say you're following this curve, and then you follow along here and you say like, well, what's turbulent about this? Okay, and now you've just added turbulent pieces. I'm thinking up here, this is a turbulence of this one. So we take this and then okay, so here we've got this turbulence, got this one's actually very similar over here, and then we've got this one. Whoa, these are so similar. Why did I draw those so similar? That's interesting though. And then we've got this. And then we've got this. And now you've created a dynamic. I don't really like this shape in here. But now you've got like this loose turbulence going on around the main sort of compositional rhythms. So think about that. I was like, oh yeah, maybe the idea in creating like a design that might have like more interest and dynamic in it is, I don't know, like say this is a sphere. Maybe it's a fire sphere or something like that. Maybe we can add like, I don't know, like whatever going on here, and we can just make sense of it a bit. Like over here, whatever. Like this is an image of the sun, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if I like that. Just randomly adding it without following the principle didn't seem to work. And something like this, bop, bop. And there you go. There you have like a blistering sun, but kind of like made dynamic as a composition or whatever. So instead of doing these tight turbulence lines, you do looser turbulence lines, and then you connect that with your main compositional rhythm, which was this. So the main compositional rhythm was bush and bush or whatever. And maybe this added on top. You add this, add that, added this, you know. And then you had like way more compositional sort of rhythms. And then combine that, and then all of a sudden you had like a magical sort of fireball-y thing that you could put like colors on and whatever. which is interesting. Because we do this, and we just go here, we go dark orange. Let's make it larger. There we go. Oh. Soft brush. No, hard brush. Ew. I want that one that's like a soft G pen. I think I can do that. Soft G pen. You've got to change the hardness. So let's duplicate subtool here. Brush tip hardness. Remove hardness. Okay. That's kind of crap, but whatever. Now it's going into skin tones, but hey, whatever. Bleh. Ew. I know there's an option in the settings somewhere that turns all white to transparent, but I don't remember where. Convert layer? No. Damn it. I wish I knew that thing. Transform, register, tonal correction. First gradient map, binarization. Oh god. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it. Maybe it's colorize? Nope. Doesn't matter. Whatever. I'll just loop this. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Ow. Mm. Just playing around. I've no intention of that being in there.
Qu'est-ce qui m'arrive? Qu'est-ce que je représente? Qui je suis, putain? Va falloir que je me lève. Que je recommence à zéro.
Maybe the idea is like this spell circuit starts like streaming into the spell. And that's why it's breaking apart.
Que je me casse. Comment je vais pouvoir me sortir de là?
Yeah, that feels. I'm feeling something from it now. Like that size. Like that's some trippy Cosmos stuff. Alright, cool. Wait, I didn't. Ugh.
In audio.
You definitely don't use that tool. Fingertip.
In audio. In audio. In audio. In audio.
Something wrong with this strap. Get rid of that design-wise. Doesn't make any sense. Lots of things I can change here. Lots of ideas. Let's just do it. Ba-da-ba. Yeah, it's just good black. Obviously that's got to come in more. Like there, kind of thing. That would make a face too thin. Okay. God. That doesn't work. The slightest nick in here. And then the slightest nick in here as well. Oh god, but then it just destroys that entire line. So weird. Ba 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 ba. Whoa. I could just literally paint over this right now. I think what I should do though is if I want to do that, I should create a color palette, like a color design. Yeah, that's the next thing I need to do is color design. So, like, I figure out the skin colors and then the background colors and then the building colors and stuff like that. Let's just start with some mid colors. and then we'll decide from there. So let's do top left and see where this goes. Let's use a hard brush. Where does that go? Yeah, we don't necessarily need that maybe, but we'll see. What about this color? Some places. About this color. Maybe this color. Maybe that color is in it. So I'll create a second thing, and then I'll just make a strike over there. Nope. It's an interesting color though. I like it. I like that hue. Nope. It's kind of like a richer color at the other one. I like it enough. Let's put it down. Nope. Nope. This is looking like a strong yes already. Notice how it looks way brighter over on the right side and then way darker over the left. It's interesting, but where it looks bright, I kind of like it. So I wonder if I go a little bit more to the left. Is that alright? No. Nope. It's that one. Cool. Ah, dang. There we go, save that one. I don't think I want to put greens in. I could put green. That green. Maybe. very rich. Way too much flavor in that green. If I change the green, it's even more flavorful. Why is that getting so flavorful? I like that one. I like that one. I don't like this one, but it gives texture. No, I don't like it. What about this one? I don't like that one either. What's going on? Hey, software, stop being weird. Alright. Software doesn't want to behave. Cool. Nope. It's a cool color, but it's not. It's not for this. No. This is interesting, because if it could be lighter, something in the background, it could suit. Like somewhere. Yeah, I like that. Put that one there. Nope. It's much colder. I actually do like it. It's very similar, but it's colder. Nope. This is a very wet color. I'll have it there just for reference. That's like sopping wet. It's maybe even better than the previous one. That's like very vibrant. Where'd you put that? Yeah, that's like dry. It's like dry. I like that. It's cool. Alright. This one is dry. Whoa. That's so solid. This is like a shadow color. I love that, actually. Back to the middle. Whoa. No, I wouldn't use that one. That one, on the other hand, be very sparing though. Where'd you put that? Yeah, it's useful, but only in the shadows. So it looks like I'm going for a cool shadows theme. It's a cool color, but it wouldn't work. It's a brilliant color. Love that color. That works too. Yeah, that's really nice. Nope. Nothing, nowhere useful. It's a very hidden color if I was to use it. Like it would hide something, it would make it less prominent. That might be useful. On like the edges. Yeah, on this ocean here. On the thing. Yes, ocean. Oop. Here. And then give it a tag. It's a very stylish color if I was to use it. Maybe like aspects of the fog could have that. Because the contrast makes that look really blue. Yeah, I could maybe use that one. I'll put it in there just for now. And we'll see later. See if any of these are better. This is a very feminine looking color. So maybe on the skin somewhere. No. This color's a bit too thick. I think I want to remove any color that's like that. That color I could potentially use. This is like a base color. Super chill. Yeah, no, that's good. This is too rich, I think. Oh, it could be made to make it fiery. Like very subtle uses. Okay, yeah, I can use that. Fiery. Whoops. There's a specific brush. Color blend? I think that's the one. It just takes the hue. So if I take the hue from here, what one would I use? Sopping Wet. Let's use Sopping Wet and put that in the river channel. What's going on? Then take some dry. Unfortunately, that brightness is like blowing it out completely. Ah, well, whatever. It's another color.
In audio. In audio.
It's a little closer. Needs tons of work.
In audio.
Needs tons of added skills that I don't have yet, but
In audio.
we can add them with quick studies. All right. I don't know. I just wanna do some random stuff. Like, okay.
In audio. In audio. In audio. In audio. In audio.
Ew. Ew. Ew.
In audio. In audio.
Ow. All right.
In audio. In audio. In audio. In audio.
Oh.
In audio. In audio.
All right, I'll leave it at that for now, and then get back at it a bit later. All right, cool. Make sure to have a nice day, and if you go out to learn something, have fun.